Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Hope everyone had an enjoyable Shabbos. And here in the United States, it is a holiday weekend called Labor Day weekend, which marks the official end of the summer or maybe beginning of the fall, depending how you look at it. For many, a back-to-school week for many of us. Children going off to Eretz Yisrael, having the zchus to learn Torah to Eretz Yisrael for a full year. So wonderful things taking place all around, and please continue davening for Chayalei Tzva Ganei Yisrael, for Shalom L'chol Petzua Yisrael, and the safe return of our hostages. And of course, Baruch Hashem, we were zocheh to have 2 bodies recovered. Hopefully zocheh to Kvur Yisrael, and let's please continue davening till the remaining 48 souls are home. We learn each week Le'il Nishmat Daniel Shimon Rav Doron Vasheli Hashem Yikam Damo, and this week we have a very special dedication. Tonight, Monday night, going into Tuesday, the 9th of Elul, is the first yahrzeit of a most dear and precious friend, not only of my family personally, but of our entire community, Sarah Devorah Bas Rav Yaakov HaKohen, Mrs. Devorah Brickman, Zichrona Levracha, and our first yahrzeit being sponsored is tonight, so we're sponsoring our learning for the entire week. Thank you to the entire Brickman family, as they are constantly finding ways to do mitzvos, Le'ili Nishmasa. So in the merit of our study, again, may her neshama have an aliyah. So let's continue. Achila shesiya kodem hatefila. Misha'a sha'ala almar hashachar asa lecha lishos mashka kodem tefila. From the time that day breaks, you're not allowed to eat or drink before davening. V'semcha chachamim divrem al hapasik lo suchla al adam. And the source of this comes from an unusual place, but it's a pasuk in Vayikra where it says, you cannot, lo sochlu al hadam, can't eat on the blood. What does that mean? You cannot eat before you pray for your own blood or your own life. And anyone who does eat or drink and then davens, the pasuk in Malachim Aleph, Perak Yadalad, pasuk Tes, says, and you have sort of elevated yourselves over me. That's the paraphrase of the pasuk. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, like after you take care of yourself, after you're so haughty in your behavior, now you're going to accept the yoke of heaven? Aval, one can drink water before davening, because drinking water is not considered haughtiness, is not considered arrogant to drink so before davening. And one is also allowed to eat or drink something that is for a health purpose, because since you're doing it for well-being, then this is not considered haughtiness to say, oh, I'm taking care of my needs before I daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'mashal, so for example, so let's say someone has digestive problems and he wants to eat something like plums. I didn't know that was a digestive cure, but let's say you have to eat something to help you with your digestion or maybe even indigestion, then this certainly is allowed. But let's say someone's so hungry, shaky, that you won't be able to concentrate on davening. One is allowed to eat before davening. Because you're not eating for haughtiness, for arrogance, because you just don't have the strength, and you're considered as someone who is ill. Someone let's say someone who is weak. And the question is daven and then eat breakfast, but I wouldn't be able to push off his morning meal, until after davening with a minyan. So he says sometimes it's better that one should daven by oneself rather than eating before davening. So in other words, it's better to daven biyachid and then eat rather than eating a full meal before davening and going to a later minyan. But if he has the ability at least to go to the minyan, he should hear Kaddish and Kedusha. Again, just showing the importance of this halacha, that one should have a full-blown breakfast instead of going to minyan, even if the minyan is later. Katan, she'od lo hagil agil bar mitzvah, a minor who has not yet reached the age of bar mitzvah, rishoy lecha lefnei hatfila, is allowed to eat before davening. Shekolmash mechanchen esaktanim shel olecha ma'achal masurim kasher ma'achal asur mitzad atzmo ne'she'eno kasher. Because when we educate our children about not eating forbidden foods, this is when there's something inherently forbidden from the food, because it's not kosher, let's say. But when Chazal instituted something, a prohibition on eating because of the time, let's say before davening or before kiddush, since there is no inherent prohibition in the food, rather it's a situational prohibition, so therefore minors are not involved in this. So this is a very, very involved halacha, and we're going to see a couple more cases, because the classic question, Meretz Hashem will see this tomorrow, but the classic question is always, what about the coffee drinkers in the audience? Can I have coffee before davening? You're going to have to just wait and see, or I would say wait and hear, but these are very, very important halachas, and of course, extremely lamaisa. So thank you for joining us for another week of learning. Please continue davening for Charlotte's family, Israel, for Shalom, Chol, Tzui, Israel, safe return of our hostages. Ili Nishmas, Sar Daniel, Hashem, Rav Dor Mishali, and again this week, Ili Nishmas, Aisha, Sar Devorah, Bas, Rav Yaakov HaKohen, Zichron Levracha. Thanks for joining us. Have a great